to fall apart. Watch the dreams slip through your fingers like glass inside the dark. Now everybody's talking like failure means the end, like one broken chapter defines the life you'll live again. But they don't understand the fire that lives inside the brave, because people who dare to challenge life are never truly defeated. The ones who fail while trying still carry something rare, a new kind of strength and brightness born from surviving despair. But those who quit before beginning, who never face the climb, will never know the feeling of becoming more through time. I remember walking home alone after everything collapsed, feeling like the future had disappeared into the past. Every doubt grew louder, every fear became a chain, and part of me wanted badly to never risk again, because staying safe looks peaceful after dreams have burned away. No more heartbreak waiting, no more nights in pain. But slowly I realized that giving up has its own cost, a quiet kind of emptiness for the soul becomes lost, because people who stop challenging don't stay unchanged somehow. They slowly lose the part of them that once felt alive and proud. And honestly, I'd rather fail 1,000 times while reaching than spend my whole existence wondering who I could have been becoming. There's honor in restarting and standing up once more, with scars still on your spirit and bruises from before. Cause every second attempt carries wisdom in its hands. The pain becomes experience, the fear becomes understanding. You walk differently afterward, not weaker, but more real, because broken dreams can sharpen a person's will to heal. The world may laugh at failure, but the world forgets this too. Every person who achieved something once stood where you do, exhausted, embarrassed, unsure they could continue, but they chose the pain of trying over the death of what was true. That's why second chances shine brighter than untouched easy wins, because rebirth carries beauty only the fallen understand within. So if you failed pursuing something your soul believed, don't lower your eyes in shame. You became something through the bleed. You became a challenger, a person who truly lived, a heart that risked breaking for something bigger than itself. And maybe that's the real glory, not perfection or applause, but continuing to rise after seeing how hard the fall was. Because life belongs to fighters, to souls willing to begin again. And every new attempt is proof, but fire still remains. So don't envy people who never dared enough to lose. Their comfort became a prison while you still have roads to choose. The future still belongs to hearts brave enough to try, and every reborn dreamer carries a different kind of light inside, a light only earned by people who once failed and still decided to stand back up again. I tried to lock my heart away after everything that broke that day. Told myself I'd never feel something I couldn't control or heal. Built up walls, kept it safe, every memory in its place. But silence never eased the pain, it only made it stay. You can hide, you can run, but love's not something you outrun. There's no cure for love, but more love. No way around, no way above. You don't heal by closing doors, you heal by opening yours. Even when it hurts again, that's where the healing begins. The answer was to numb every feeling that could come, but empty empty hearts don't break in two, they just forget what's true. So I took a breath and tried again, let the light back in. Not because I wasn't scared, but because I still cared. Pain doesn't mean you chose it wrong, it means you felt it strong. There's no cure for love but more love, and after all the scars you've got, you don't fix a heart by shutting it down, you fix it by letting it out. Even if it breaks once more, that's what your heart is for. What if the risk is part of a cure? What if the hurt makes love feel pure? You don't get peace by turning away, you find it when you stay. Because love isn't meant to be safe, it's meant to be brave. There's no cure for love but more love, through the dark, through the unknown. You don't find it by letting go, you find it by letting it grow. Every tear, every fall means you gave it your all. So I won't hide, I won't pretend, I'll choose to love again. Because the only way to heal is to feel again.
I used to rush through every day, chasing something far away, always thinking what's next, never feeling what I had. Faces passing, moments gone, I was there but not at all, living somewhere in my mind while the present slipped behind. But the past has shown me gently what I couldn't see, that everything I needed was right here with me. So I'll live just this day, exactly as it is. Every breath, every face, every fleeting kiss. I won't rush, I won't chase what I cannot see, because this moment right now is enough for me. Not every day is bright and clear, some are quiet, some unclear, but even in the ordinary, there's a beauty I can carry. The people just as they appear, not perfect but they're here, and that alone is something real, something I can feel. If I'm always looking forward, I'll miss what's in my hand and lose the sense scroll through faces like a story, looking for a flawless line. Every smile, every moment, measured against a perfect design. We keep waiting for a feeling that fits like it's meant to stay, but every almost turns to nothing when it doesn't feel that way. We say it's not enough yet, like love should come complete. We're chasing perfect people while letting perfect love slip away, looking for a ready answer instead of learning how to stay. It's not about perfection, it's about the work we do. Love was never something found, it's something built by two. We leave before it gets complicated, before the cracks begin to show, thinking something better's waiting if we just keep letting go. But every time we start again, we carry what we never faced, running from the same reflection in a different kind of face. We keep searching for forever in a moment we don't keep. We're chasing perfect people while losing something real inside, looking for a flawless ending instead of standing through the ride. It's not about the surface or the dream we think we do. Love was never something ready, it's something we grow into. Maybe love is in the trying, in the staying, in the fight, not in finding someone perfect, but in choosing them each night. And maybe all the time we lost was time we could have used to build something imperfect, but honest, strong and true. So I'm done chasing perfect, I'm done running from the flaws. I'll take the real, the broken, every reason and every cause. 'Cause love is not a finish line, it's something we go through, not something we keep searching for, but something we create as two. I used to dream of breaking out, no more chains, no more doubt. Thought freedom and an open road, no one telling where to go. But standing there with all that space, I felt the fear beneath the grace, because every choice became my own, no one else to blame anymore. Freedom sounds beautiful from afar, until you realize how heavy choices are. Liberty comes with a cost, a weight that can't be passed across. To be free is to decide and live with what you leave behind. That's why so many hide away inside the comfort of being led. Some people trade their voice for ease, let others shape what they believe, because it's safer not to choose than risk the chance of being wrong. But every time you hand away the right to shape your Like that's the reason that you stay. List the things you love about me, like they won't just fade away. But what if all those words you're holding disappear some other day? Would you still be here beside me if they all just slipped away? I don't wanna be a moment or a list you check off clean. Don't love me for the way I shine or for the way I fit your mind. Don't love me for the things I do or who I try to be for you. Love me just because I'm me, not for what you think you see. No reason, no design, just love me as I am inside. I don't wanna be your answer, don't wanna be your perfect dream. I don't need to earn your feeling by being everything you need. I wanna stand here in the quiet with nothing left to prove, and know that even in the silence you'd still choose me too. Not for beauty, not for grace, not for anything I can't replace. Don't love me for the words I say or for the way I make you stay. Don't love me for the light I bring or any temporary thing. Love me when there's nothing left but who I am without the rest. No reason you can define, just love me as this heart of mine. Love was never meant to be a list of reasons we agree. It's something deeper, something true that lives beyond what we can prove. And if it needs a why to stay, then maybe it will fade away. But real love doesn't ask for that, it simply isn't that so fact. So don't love me for the things you see or for the version I could be. Don't love me for the reasons why, just love me. Don't even try. If you can stand here next to me with nothing but what I can be, then maybe we'll finally find a love with no reason, no design.
Every time you face something new, fear starts speaking first, telling you you're not prepared, telling you it's gonna hurt. It measures all your weaknesses, counts everything you lack, shows you all the reasons why you should just turn back. You're not talented enough, you're too far behind, someone else could do it better. Those voices fill your mind, and slowly you begin believing you must already be strong before you deserve the right to chase where you belong. But that's not how people grow, that's not how dreams begin. Nobody starts a mountain climb already standing at the end. The most important thing when you challenge something new is not whether you can do it now, but whether the fire inside you burns true. Because skill can be learned slowly, experience comes with time, but without desire in your spirit, you'll never even start the climb. I used to look at my limits more than my desire, thinking ability determined how high I could rise higher. So I stayed inside familiar places where failure couldn't show, even while my heart kept whispering there's somewhere else you're meant to go. And honestly, that hurt deeper than failing ever could, because ignoring your own passion quietly destroys the soul for good. Then one day I understood keep learning, a reason not to quit, a reason to wake up again, even when progress felt like nothing fit. That's what separates dreamers from people who never move. Not talent at the beginning, but the hunger to break through. Because passion creates endurance. Passion survives the pain. Passion keeps exhausted hearts standing in the rain. A person with motivation can grow beyond their fears, but talent without purpose disappears across the years. So don't ask yourself only, can I do this now? Ask yourself more honestly, do I want this enough somehow? Enough to fail at first, enough to look unskilled, enough to keep returning even after confidence is killed. Because every master once struggled, every artist once felt small, every great beginning looked awkward before becoming anything at all. The fire inside your chest matters more than your current place, because people become extraordinary through repeated effort and faith. Not through instant perfection, not through effortless success, but through stubborn devotion when the road becomes a mess. So if something calls your spirit, don't silence it with fear. Your present ability doesn't define your future here. The important thing is wanting it enough to grow, enough to become someone new along the road. Never forget this when doubt enters your mind. Greatness begins with desire, long before ability arrives.
There's a little shop beyond the street where silent souls and shadows meet. No signs above, no golden name, just whispered hopes without a face. Inside the shelves are glowing dreams, wrapped in dust and broken strings. Some by love, some by fame, some just wanna feel okay again. The old man asked me softly then, if dreams were sold, what would you spend? If there were dreams to buy tonight, tell me what you'd hold so tight. Would you choose a brighter past, or a love that finally lasts? Would you buy the stars above, or simply someone there to love? If dreams were waiting on a shelf, would you choose the world or yourself? I saw a woman dressed in gold, trading youth she couldn't hold. A tired man with shaking hands, buying one more chance to dance again. And in the corner, quiet-eyed, a little boy just stood beside. A dream too small for others to see, just wanting someone to believe. Funny how the richest hearts don't always buy the brightest stars. If there were dreams to buy tonight, maybe most would choose the light, but some would trade it all away for one more honest yesterday. A second chance, a peaceful mind, a way to leave the fear behind. If dreams are sold like jewelry, what would your dream be? And then I realized, standing there, the dreams we want are already here. And not in windows, not in gold, but in the lives we choose to hold. Maybe dreams were never things to buy, maybe they were things we live and fight for. If there were dreams to buy tonight, I think I'd leave with empty hands. Some dreams can't be sold anyway. And under the fading evening sky, I carried mine home inside.
Before the cities touch the sky, before we learn the stars could guide, before the songs, before the fire, there was only one thing, desire. A picture forming in the dark, a fragile thought inside the heart. And from that spark the world was changed by minds refusing to stay the same. Every bridge, every machine was once invisible, unseen. The world is shaped by what we dream, by visions no one else has seen. Every future starts as light inside imagination's eyes. We build tomorrow in the mind, long before it comes alive. Some imagine peace and grace, others built walls filled with hate, because imagination cuts both ways. It can save or rearrange. A child looking at the moon may one day walk across it too. And every impossible we know once sounded crazy long ago. Reality bends quietly around what people dare believe. The human heart keeps reaching far, past the limits of what we are. Not satisfied with standing still, always shaping something real, because imagination's not escape. It's the force that changes fate. Whoa. Cause every revolution starts inside a restless heart. So let your mind run wild tonight. That's how the world learns how to rise. Every dream you carry now may become somebody's future somehow. And maybe humanity's greatest art is creating worlds before they start. The stars above were once unknown, now they live inside our homes, because somewhere someone dared to imagine. I tried to lock my heart away after everything that broke that day. Told myself I'd never feel something I couldn't control or heal. Built up walls, kept it safe, every memory in its place. But silence never eased the pain, it only made it stay. You can hide, you can run, but love's not something you outrun. There's no cure for love, but more love. No way around, no way above. You don't heal by closing doors, you heal by opening yours. Even when it hurts again, that's where the healing begins. I thought the answer was to numb every feeling that could come, but empty hearts don't break in two, they just forget what's true. So I took a breath and tried again, let the light back in. Not because I wasn't scared, but because I still cared. Pain doesn't mean you chose it wrong, it means you felt it strong. There's no cure You don't get peace by turning away. You find it when you stay. Because love isn't meant to be safe. It's meant to be brave. There's no cure for love, but more love through the dark, through the unknown. You don't find it by letting go. You find it by letting it grow. Every tear, every fall means you gave it your all. So I won't hide, I won't pretend. I'll choose to love again. Because the only way to heal is to feel again. I used to want the answers fast, skip the hurt and bypass the past. Thought wisdom came from what you knew, not from what you struggled through. But every scar upon my skin taught me more than comfort did. And every road that made me bleed left something stronger underneath. Nothing valuable arrives for free, not the things that shape who we'll be. Experience always costs something, a little pain, a little suffering. You pay in nights, you pay in tears, you pay in trial through the years. But every wound becomes a guide, lighting up the road inside. I've met people young in age, but ancient in the things they faced. And others safe their whole lives through, still strangers to the deeper truth. Because you can't learn love from words or courage without getting hurt. And no one understands the climb without walking it in time. The lessons that stay the longest are the ones bought through hardship. Experience is earned slowly through broken plans and lonely evenings. Not in comfort, not in ease, but in moments that bring you to your knees. And though the price can feel unfair, the wisdom stays there. What if pain is not the enemy? What if it's part of becoming? 'Cause every soul that truly grows has walked through things nobody knows. And maybe that's the hidden art, turning hurt into heart. So I won't regret the cost or every time I thought I'd lost. Because the person standing here was shaped by every difficult year. And though experience asks for more, it gives back deeper than before. The road was never free to walk, every lesson had its cost. But looking back through all this time, I think it was worth the price.
Used to think that love meant staring, eyes locked like we never break, holding on to every moment like it's all we had to take. But somewhere in the quiet distance, forgetting where to start. Love is not just looking in your eyes, it's walking forward side by side. Not just holding what we feel, but chasing something that is real. Through every road, through every day, it's knowing we're facing the same way. Not just where we stand tonight, but where we're going in this life. There were times we lost the rhythm, caught in what we try to be. Me needing you to see me, you needing to be free. But when we turned toward the horizon, something shifted deep inside. Not about who we were holding, but who we stood beside. It's not about perfection here, it's about the path we share. Love is not just looking in your eyes, it's building dreams under open skies. Not just words we say at night, but how we move toward the same light. Through every doubt, through every climb, it's standing steady through the time. Not just where our hearts align, but where our futures intertwine. We don't have to be the same or see the world in matching ways. Love is choosing every day to walk together anyway. It's not about the perfect view, I'll never lose inside. It's about the way we keep turning toward the same light. Love is not just looking in your eyes, it's choosing every day to try. Through every change, through every fight, we keep the future in our sight. Side by side, through all we face, we're not just here, we're on our way. Not just in love for now, but in the same direction somehow. I've spent nights staring at the sky, chasing dreams I can't define, thinking maybe somewhere far there's a place where I belong. But morning always pulls me back to ordinary roads and tracks. Bills to pay, mistakes to mend, small steps that never seem to end. Dreams need wonder, dreams need flight, but they also need the ground beneath their life. Keep your eyes upon the stars, but keep your feet where you are. Dream beyond what you can see, but build it slowly, patiently, because the sky means nothing much if you lose the earth you touch. I've seen people chase the glow, so far they forget home, lost inside the need to rise, till they no longer recognize their own eyes. And I've seen others scared to dream, too afraid to reach beyond routine, but somewhere in the middle lies the way to truly come alive. You don't have to choose one side, you can hold both truth and light. Keep your eyes upon the stars, let become connection. Dream high, but walk slow. That's how real futures grow. Keep your eyes upon the stars, even when the road feels hard, and keep your feet upon the earth. That's what gives your dream its worth. Because the ones who truly rise are the ones who balance both sides. So I'll keep looking up at night while taking one more step in life. Stars above, ground below. That's how I'll go. I've been running out of ways. Every door just faced the gray. No more answers left to find. Just a war inside my mind. Every step feels like the end. Every breath I have to bend. Try to fight, try to stand, but I'm slipping through my hands. They say stop, you've gone too far, but I know just where we are. Don't tell me this is where it ends, when I got nothing left to spend. I'll take one step to the edge, even if it breaks me then. When there's nothing left to hold, that's when I become my own. At the edge I'll finally see the wind was waiting there for me. All the plans I built collapse. Every path I try to map, nothing left to guarantee. No more safe reality. But maybe this is what it takes to finally cut away the chains. When I've got nothing left to lose, that's when I decide to choose. No more fear, no more lies. I'll face it with open eyes. Don't tell me this is where it ends. This is where I start again. I'll take one step to the edge, even if I fall instead. When there's nothing left to hold, that's when I become my own. At the edge I'll finally see
begins inside you, before the world appears, before the roads unfold ahead, before the doubts and fears. There's a quiet voice speaking beneath the noise outside, telling you who you are and what kind of life you'll find. If you call yourself broken, your spirit starts to bend. If you whisper, I am growing, your strength begins again. Because human beings slowly become the thoughts they hold inside, and every repeated belief shapes the course of life. You become what you believe, what you feed inside your mind. Your thoughts become the blueprint for the person built through time. The soul follows direction even when you cannot see, and the future often mirrors what you silently believe. I used to think my limits were written into fate, like I was born too late somehow, or simply not made great. So I carried fear like truth, repeated every scar until I almost forgot completely how powerful thoughts are. Because thoughts become habits, habits become days, days become your lifetime and slowly shape your ways. That's why hopeless thinking can bury living dreams long before reality ever has the chance to speak. A person saying I can't forever stops trying after pain, but someone believing I'll learn keeps rising once again. That difference changes everything across the years ahead. One mind keeps building futures, the other lives half dead. Not because life is easy, not because belief alone wins, but because belief creates action, and action is where change begins. The strongest people walking weren't fearless from the start. They simply protected carefully the vision inside their heart. Even when nobody saw it, even when nights were long, they kept speaking possibility till their spirit grew strong. And honestly, the scariest thing is how quietly thoughts grow. A single repeated sentence can decide the road you follow. I'm worthless, I'll fail, I'll never become more. Those thoughts become invisible walls around every unopened door. But the opposite is true as well. Hope can reshape the soul. Believing in your growth can pull you towards your goal. One thought becomes a movement, one movement becomes a climb, one climb becomes a future, built little by little through time. So guard your inner language more carefully than gold, because the mind becomes the soil where every life unfolds. And maybe that's the deepest truth hidden inside humanity. People are not trapped forever by what they used to be. They are shaped continuously by what they choose to think, and destinies begin changing the moment belief shifts. So speak to yourself with courage, even through the doubt and pain, because the person you imagine repeatedly is the person you become someday. You become what you believe, that law has always been true, and the future waiting quietly will often rise from the thoughts inside you. I used to measure life in days, watching time just drift away, counting breaths like that was proof that I was living something true. But silence filled the space I made. Nothing changed, nothing stayed, and deep inside I felt the truth. Breathing wasn't something new. A heartbeat doesn't mean you've tried, it just means you're still alive. Living is more than breathing air, more than simply being there. choosing will. Some stay safe inside the lines, never cross, never try, but safety keeps the world the same. It never learns, it never changes. You don't find yourself by chance, you find it in the things you chase, in every fall and every move. That's when life speaks back to you. You don't need to feel no fear, you just need to meet it here. Living is more than passing time, more than waiting for a sign. It's in the moments you decide to step beyond and not to hide. You don't exist to just survive, you exist to feel alive. What if all the time you've got is asking you to give it a shot? Not to wait, not to delay, but to move in some small way. Because the life you're meant to know won't come unless you go. Living is more than breath and bone, more than standing on your own. It's in the fire you choose to keep, and promises you choose to meet. You don't become by letting be, you become by what you see. So take a step, however small, that's where life begins to call. Not in what you say you'll do, but in what you actually do.
We don't just fall in gentle waves, we crash like waves that can't behave. Every word cuts twice as deep when it's the one we couldn't keep. You say my anger's just too much, but it's the shadow of your touch. If I didn't feel you this strong, I wouldn't hold on this long. It's not just love, it's something wild, a fire we can't reconcile. Hate is just the other side of love, born from something deep enough. Every word I throw your way is a feeling I can't escape. And jealousy's a fragile sign of how your heart still intertwines. If I didn't care this much, I wouldn't feel this rush. I see you laugh at someone new, and something breaks I can't undo. It's not just pain, it's something more, a silent war I can't ignore. I wish I didn't feel this way, didn't let it pull me in. But every time I turn away, I feel it start again. It's not just anger in my veins, it's love that twisted into pain. Hate is just the other side of love, a mirror I can't rise above. Every tear, every fight is proof you're still inside my life. And jealousy won't let me hide how you're still somewhere in my mind. If I didn't care this deep, I'd finally fall asleep. Maybe love is never simple, never soft, never never clean. It's the way it stains your heartbeat with everything it's been. And even when it turns to fire, burns the words we used to say. There's a truth we can't deny. It never fully fades away. Hate is just the other side of love, a scar that fits just like a glove. Every wound, every line is something you left behind. And jealousy still lingers on long after the light is gone. 'Cause if it never mattered at all, I wouldn't feel this at all. I wouldn't feel this at all.
There comes a moment quietly when the old world no longer fits. Familiar streets feel smaller than the dream inside your chest. You stand between tomorrow and everything you've known, with fear inside your heartbeat, but hope that won't let go. Leaving isn't easy, starting over shakes the soul, but every new beginning leads somewhere you've never known. For the ones who choose a new beginning, a new road always appears. The future opens softly to hearts willing to leave here. Every doorway entered changes who we are, and every brave departure can lead us to the stars. I remember standing still once, afraid to walk away, holding on to old versions of myself long after they had faded gray. Because comfort can feel safer than the unknown ahead, even when your spirit whispers you were made for something else instead. And honestly, beginnings hurt sometimes. Goodbyes can break your heart, but staying where your soul no longer grows can tear you further apart. So one day I chose movement even while my hands still shook, and suddenly the world grew wider the moment the first step took. New skies, new people, new strength I'd never seen, waiting just beyond the place I thought I'd always be. That's the beauty of departure, the hidden gift inside change. Life rewards the people who dare to rearrange their habits, their fears, their definition of home. Because growth begins the second you stop refusing the unknown. A seed must leave the darkness before it reaches light, and ships were never built forever to remain untouched by tides. The future doesn't open for hearts trapped in yesterday, it opens for the souls willing to walk away. Away from fear, away from limits, away from who they used to be, toward a version of themselves still waiting to breathe free. So if your heart feels restless, if something calls your name, maybe life is asking you to step beyond the same. Not because the road is certain, not because there's no pain, but because a new horizon can only come through change. For the ones who choose a new beginning, a new path always starts, and every brave departure rewrites the map inside the heart. So open the door before you, even if the night feels long, because somewhere beyond this chapter there's a place where you belong. And one day you'll look back grateful for the fear you walked through then, because your whole new life began the moment you chose to begin. I said words I didn't mean, like sparks thrown into gasoline. In the moment it felt right to let the darkness speak. That night, pride was louder than my heart, and anger tore the room apart. I watched love turn into smoke over sentences I never should have spoke. Fire feels powerful at first until you see what it burns. Whatever starts in anger leaves ashes in the end. A wound that keeps on echoing long after voices end. Because rage may feel like strength, but it fades into regret. I've broken things with reckless hands, things I didn't understand. Not because I meant them harm, but because pain can sound like war. And silence after all the noise feels heavier than the choice to stop, to breathe, to let things rest before turning hurt into a mess. Not every feeling needs a fight. Some storms pass if we don't ignite. Whatever grows from bitterness will eventually collapse. You can't build peace from sharpened words or love from constant attacks. Because anger burns fast and bright, but leaves you cold at night. But leaves you cold at night. What if strength is not the flame, but the patience to walk away? Not winning every war you start, but protecting your own heart. Because some battles cost too much, even if you win them. So I'll try to hold my tongue before the damage has been done. I don't want another scar made from moments gone too far. Because the hardest thing to learn is some fires aren't worth the burn. The room grew quiet after the storm, and I saw what anger had done. So now before I strike the match, I'll remember the ashes. There will be days they doubt you, days they push you down, days your effort feels invisible while the whole world turns around. You'll give your heart completely and still be left unseen. You'll carry dreams through storms that nobody else believes. And honestly, you'll wonder if all this pain is worth, if all the sleepless nights will ever give something back in return. But seeds don't bloom the moment they're buried in the ground, and roots grow deep in darkness long before they're found. So even if you stepped on, even if life hits hard, if you keep moving forward, your effort will leave scars. But those scars become proof of how deeply you believed. And someday through persistence, something beautiful will breathe. I used to think hard work should quickly show results, like effort owed us answers for every sacrifice involved. But life moves slower sometimes than the heart can understand, and dreams often demand years before they finally land. That's why so many quit early, not because they lacked desire, but because they couldn't survive the silence before the fire. The silence before recognition, the silence before change, the silence where nobody notices how much strength it takes to continue through exhaustion, to continue through defeat, to continue while the world says you should probably retreat. But strongest people aren't born without pain or fear. They're simply the ones who refuse to disappear. When life crushed their confidence, when rejection filled the air, when every step felt heavier than any soul should bear. And somehow through the breaking they still protected the flame, still woke up the next morning and fought through the rain. That kind of perseverance changes a person deep, because endurance creates character that comfort cannot teach. A flower becomes beautiful not because stories ever came, but because it kept growing through seasons, don't hate the waiting years. Sometimes your greatest strength is being built right here. Inside the unseen effort, inside the hidden climb, inside the daily choice to continue one more time. Because nothing sincere is wasted, no honest work disappears, and every drop of effort is shaping future years. You may not see it now, you may feel far from light, but mountains are moved slowly through countless unseen nights. So if they step on your spirit, if they laugh while you bleed, hold on to the truth that persistence plants the seed. And one day, without warning, after all the pain endured, the thing you protected quietly will finally bloom for sure. Not because life was easy, not because luck appeared, but because you kept believing long after weaker hearts disappeared. So keep going, keep building, keep standing through the storm, because effort carried faithfully always finds a way to bloom reborn. People always ask the question, what's the secret to success? How do I make my dreams come true? How do I become my best? They search for hidden answers, for magic words or signs, like greatness left somewhere outside instead of deep inside. They read 1,000 stories, watch everybody else, waiting for motivation to arrive and move themselves. But dreams don't care about intentions or plans left in your mind, and life never changes for the soul free to try. So when they ask me for the secret, I give the simplest truth. If you wanna make it real someday, you have to move. Go do it, even before you feel ready. Go do it, even while your hands feel unsteady. Because dreams are not built by wishing from afar, they're built by people brave enough to begin where they are. I used to overthink everything, trying to find the perfect way, planning every future detail while another year slipped away. I thought someday confidence would suddenly appear, and then I'd finally chase the thing I secretly wanted here. But confidence came after movement, not before the climb, and courage was never waiting, it was created over time. The first song written badly, the first failed conversation, the first attempt nobody noticed, the first embarrassing situation. That's where real growth starts, not in fantasy alone, but in the uncomfortable moment you start watching and become. Because nobody learns swimming without entering the sea, and nobody builds a future by only dreaming quietly. The people you admire now were once beginners too, lost, uncertain, terrified, without a clue what to do. But they moved anyway before certainty arrived, and step by step they became the people now admire. That's the difference between a dream and reality. One stays trapped in imagination, the other enters gravity. Falls down, gets bruised, learns slowly through mistakes, and eventually becomes something no fear could ever take. So stop waiting for permission, stop waiting for the sign. The world belongs to people who act before the perfect time. Yes, you might fail badly, yes, people may not care. Yes, the road may humble you more times than feels fair, but trying transforms a person in ways comfort never can. And every action taken makes you more than who you've been. I'd rather stumble forward than stand still my whole life, because unfinished dreams become the heaviest weight at night. So when you ask me for the secret for how to make dreams true, I won't give complicated answers. I'll just say, start now, start scared, start imperfect, start small, but above all else, go do it. Go do it. Everybody loves the finish line. victory scene. The moment crowds start cheering for the person who achieved the dream. They celebrate the trophies, the mountain finally crossed. But nobody sees the silent nights or everything it cost. Nobody feels the shaking hands before the leap was made. Nobody hears the lonely prayers whispered through the rain, because glory was never waiting only at the end. It lived inside the struggle of refusing not to ascend. The glory is in the trying, in daring to pursue, in giving your whole spirit to something calling you. Not only in arriving, not only in success, but in becoming someone stronger through every test. I used to think achievement was the only thing that mattered, like reaching the top alone could heal the soul from shattering. But every dream I chased changed me long before I won. The real transformation happened in who I had become. The discipline of waking when giving up felt right, the courage to keep climbing through endless sleepless nights. The way failure carved wisdom into places pride once stood. The way pain slowly taught me how to fight for something good. That's where the glory lives, not in applause alone, but in the invisible battles only your heart has known. A runner becomes beautiful not because they touched the tape, but because they kept moving forward even while exhaustion shaped them. Oh, a fighter becomes legendary not simply by winning wars, but by standing back up again after hitting the floor. Because effort reveals character more than comfort ever can, and pursuit gives meaning to the soul of a human being. I remember moments broken, certain I would never arrive, yet something inside me still burned, still wanted to survive. And honestly, those moments mean more to me today than any easy victory that simply came my way. Because the climb awakened parts of me asleep, and struggle gave my spirit something real to keep. The world may only notice who finally reached the light, but heaven sees the people who kept walking through the night, who kept believing quietly even after countless scars, who kept chasing the horizon no matter how far. That's why I'm not afraid anymore of failing on the road, because there's dignity in carrying a dream this heavy to hold. There is honor in the attempt, beauty in the fight, and glory in the human soul that refuses to stop the climb. So if you're tired tonight, if the summit still feels far, remember the greatness of your life already lives inside your scars, inside every risk you've taken, inside every fear you faced, inside every painful step you still chose not to waste. Because glory was never reserved only for the ones who win. It belongs to every heart brave enough to begin.
unseen inside the flame. But every battle that I fought still left something unresolved, because the enemy I feared was always whispering from within. The hardest war is never loud, it lives beneath the skin. Somehow, the first and greatest victory is learning how to master me. Not the world, not someone else, but the shadows I have felt. Every fear I choose to face becomes another step I take. There were mornings I gave in to comfort, dressed up with peace within. Moments I let doubt decide who I was and how I'd fight. But strength is not a perfect heart, it's choosing light inside the dark. It's standing up another day, even when you wanna fade. You don't conquer by control, you conquer when you own your soul. The first and truest victory is breaking chains inside of me. The laziness, the fear, the pride, the voice that tells me not to try. Because the strongest men I've seen are the ones who conquered what's unseen. What if greatness starts right here? Not in glory, not in cheers, but in quiet moments alone, where you choose the harder road. Because no crown can truly last if you're still ruled by your past. So I'll fight the war within, again and again and again. Not for power, not for fame, but to become someone unchanged. And maybe that's the highest view, to finally become true to you. So before I chase the world outside, I'll learn to stand with what's inside. Because the hardest victory is over me. They talk before I even start, like they already know my heart. Every doubt, every line, trying to define my time. I haven't even made a move, still they say what I will lose. Like the story's already told before I've even tried it all. They don't see the road I see, they don't feel what's inside me. So why should I let their voice decide who I'll be? Even if they break me down before I even move, even if they laugh it off before I can prove, I'll still take that step ahead. I won't let it fade, because real courage lies in the choice I make. You can hear it in their tone, like you're better off alone, like your dreams don't make sense, like they don't stand a chance. But they're not the ones who feel what I know is something real, and I won't let their fear turn into mine. You can stop before you start, or you can face the fall. The only thing that matters is you moved at all. Even if they shut me down before I take the lead, even if they doubt me loud before I succeed, I'll still take that step ahead. I won't run away, because real courage lies in what I do today. It's easy not to try it all, to stay where it feels safe. But the moment that you move is the moment you escape. Even if they break me down before I begin, even if they say I'll fail before I step in, I'll still take that step ahead, no matter what they say. Because real courage lies in moving anyway. Before I move, I still move.
If every dream came easy, if effort guaranteed the prize, everybody would keep running, everybody would survive. If success was always certain, fear would disappear. No one would quit halfway, no one would break down here. But life doesn't promise victory to the people who begin. Sometimes the road stays silent, no matter how hard you give in. That's why so many stop trying when the results don't arrive, because chasing something uncertain can slowly drain your life. But the rarest kind of strength is not talent born at the start, it's staying devoted to the dream even while breaking apart. To keep the same fire burning when nobody understands, to keep creating in the darkness with empty trembling hands. I used to think gifted people were simply born ahead, like greatness lived inside them before a single step was led. But then I watched the people who truly changed their lives, and what amazed me wasn't skill alone, it was how long they survived. The lonely nights repeating, the years without applause, the mornings they kept showing up without visible rewards. That kind of endurance is something deeper than luck, because most people lose passion when life becomes too rough. But some hearts continue anyway, even when hope feels thin, even when failure whispers you'll never truly win. And honestly, I think that's where real talent lives, not in effortless perfection, but in refusing to quit, refusing to lower your dream just because the world stays cold, refusing to betray your purpose for comfort or control. Because anybody can shine when success comes quickly, but continuing through eternity, that's what reveals identity. That's what separates dreamers from the people who fade, the ability to keep believing long after excitement decays, to keep waking up early, to keep practicing unseen, to keep carrying the same vision through years in between. No guarantees, no promises, no certainty ahead, just a stubborn voice inside refusing to die instead. That's courage, that's devotion, that's the rarest thing of all. A person who keeps climbing even after every fall. I've seen talented people disappear the moment praise was gone, and ordinary people become extraordinary because they simply carried on. That's why I don't worship genius the way the world sometimes does. I admire the soul still fighting after years without enough recognition, enough rewards, enough signs. They'll make it through and somehow they still stand up. still faithful to what's true. Maybe that's the deepest gift a human being can hold. Not brilliance without struggle, but passion that survives the cold. So if your road feels endless, if results still haven't come, remember your persistence itself is proof of who you've become. Because the people who truly change the world are rarely the fastest to rise. They're the ones who kept their fire alive through endless uncertain nights. And maybe that is talent more than anything else, the strength to keep moving forward when nothing guarantees it will help.
When the world feels heavy and the road turns cold, when the night surrounds you and the truth feels old, when the voices whisper, why even try today? When the storm inside you won't just fade away, even in the darkest hour, you can choose the light. Be good anyway, no matter where you stand. When the sky is falling or nothing goes as planned, be kind anyway, even when hearts betray. Your soul is what you keep at the end of every day. No matter what you face, no matter what they say, be good anyway. Some will try to break you, some will turn away, some will judge your silence, some won't hear it pray. But the world remembers every quiet grace, every small compassion left in every place, every gentle act you give. dreams I can't define, thinking maybe somewhere far there's a place where I belong. But morning always pulls me back to ordinary roads and tracks, bills to pay, mistakes to mend, small steps that never seem to end. Dreams need wonder, dreams need flight, but they also need the ground beneath their life. Keep your eyes upon the stars, but keep your feet where you are. Dream beyond what you can see, but build it slowly, patiently, because the sky means nothing much if you lose the earth you touch. I've seen people chase the glow, so far they forget home, lost inside the need to rise till they no longer recognize their own eyes. And I've seen others scared to dream, too afraid to reach beyond routine, but somewhere in the middle lies the way to truly come alive. You don't have to choose one side, you can hold both truth and light. Keep your eyes upon the stars, let them guide your restless heart, but keep your feet upon the ground. That's where real dreams are found, not just wishing from afar, but becoming who you are. The stars remind you to believe, the ground reminds you not to leave. One gives hope, one gives direction, together they become connection. Dream high, but walk slow. That's how real futures grow. Keep your eyes upon the stars, even when the road feels hard, and keep your feet upon the earth. That's what gives your dream its worth, because the ones who truly rise are the ones who balance both sides. So I'll keep looking up at night while taking one more step in life. Stars above, ground below. That's how I'll go.
People think the brightest moments are the ones beneath the lights. The victories, the trophies, the beautiful, perfect nights. The standing ovations, the crowds that know your name. The feeling of arriving at the end of all the pain. But honestly, those moments fade faster than we think, and glory by itself can leave a soul empty at the brink. Because the deepest kind of brilliance isn't born from easy days. It's born when broken hearts decide to rise again through pain. The brightest moment of your life may come in the darkest place, when something inside your despair suddenly wakes. when hope returns through the ruins, when purpose cuts the night, when your exhausted soul remembers it still wants to fight. I remember sitting hopeless, certain life had lost its way. Every dream felt shattered, every color turned to gray. Nothing looked inspiring, nothing seemed alive, just disappointment echoing through every sleepless night. And then without warning, somewhere underneath the ache, a vision of tomorrow quietly began to wake. Not certainty, not comfort, not success already won, just a burning realization my life is not done. And somehow that small fire shining inside despair felt more beautiful than any victory I'd ever held before there. Because there's something sacred about a soul deciding to challenge life again after almost collapsing. That moment changes people more than applause ever will. The instant someone broken still chooses to climb uphill, the world sees the triumph later, but nobody sees the night where a lonely heart quietly decides to survive the fight. That's where greatness begins, not on stages filled with praise, but in hidden moments where hope returns through pain. When you're standing in the wreckage and still dare to dream again, when the future suddenly whispers you were made for more than this end. That feeling is electric, more alive than victory itself, because rebirth feels different than success gathered for wealth. It feels like your soul awakening after years of sleep, like finally finding purpose buried underneath the grief. And maybe that's why suffering sometimes transforms a life, because people discover strength while surviving the night. Not because pain is beautiful, not because despair is kind, but because human beings are powerful enough to create light inside, inside failure, inside heartbreak, inside the lowest ground. A felt you can still rise suddenly and turn everything around. So if you're lost tonight, if hope feels far away, remember the brightest fire may begin exactly this way. Not when everything is perfect, not when all your fears are gone, but when your tired heart decides it still wants to move on. Because the greatest moments in life are not always victories won. Sometimes they're the silent nights where a broken soul chooses to become someone. And in that moment, even despair cannot win, because the future has already begun deep within.
I used to rush through every day, chasing something far away, always thinking what's next, never feeling what I had. Faces passing, moments gone, I was there but not at all, living somewhere in my mind while the present slipped behind. But the past has shown me gently what I couldn't see, that everything I needed was right here with me. So I live days bright and clear, some are quiet, some unclear. But even in the ordinary, there's a beauty I can carry. The people just as they appear, not perfect but they're here. And that alone is something real, something I can feel. If I'm always looking forward, I'll miss what's in my hand and lose the simple wonder of where I stand. So I'll live just this day with nothing held inside. No regret, no fear ahead, no place left to hide. I won't trade this moment for a distant maybe, because this life I'm living now is already everything. The past taught me to be grateful for the life I couldn't see, and the future isn't something that should take this away from me. So I'll live just this day with my heart open wide. Every moment, every step, let it come alive. No more waiting for someday, no more running free, because this moment right now is enough for me. Just this day is everything.
The world keeps moving fast outside, but something deeper lives inside. A quiet voice that never sleeps, asking questions underneath. Not every thought is loud or clear, some just linger, disappear. But every time I start to feel, it turns into something real. You don't see it, you don't show, but it's the place where you grow. To live is to think, to wonder why, to question truth, to reach inside. Every thought that passes through is shaping who you turn into. It's not just breath, it's not just time, it's every moment in your mind. Some walk through life without a sound, never stop to look around, but something's missing in the air when you don't know why you're there. Thinking isn't just a weight, it's how you learn to navigate the light, the dark, the in-between, the unseen parts of everything. You don't need all the answers now, just keep asking why. Somehow to live is to think, to search, to feel, to turn the hidden into real. Every doubt and every spark is lighting up the dark. It's not about a perfect line, it's about a searching mind. Even silence holds a thought, even stillness has been taught. Every moment you reflect is a step you won't forget. You don't live by passing through, You live by what you choose to view. To live is to think, to stay awake, to question every step you take. Not just drifting through the day, but choosing your own way. Because a life that truly moves is one that always chooses truth. So take a breath and look within. That's where living truly begins. Not just in what you do, but in what you think too.
I fell for chaos dressed like magic, for every word that felt like fire. He made promises and whispers that only pulled me in deeper. I called it love, I called it passion, even when it broke me down. I didn't see the warning signs, I just wanted him around. I thought the highs were worth the fall, didn't know love could feel like more. I had to love the wrong one first to understand what I deserve. Every tear, every goodbye opened up my eyes, and now I see what love can be. Not a storm, but something steady. If I hadn't felt that pain, I wouldn't know the difference today. Then you walked in, soft and certain. No games, no need to pretend. You didn't try to pull me under, you just stayed again and again. It felt strange at first, too quiet, like something I couldn't trust. But slowly I began to see, this is what real love does. No chasing highs, no falling hard, just something real beneath the stars. I had to love the wrong one first to recognize what love is. What every scar, every mistake led me to this place. Now I feel what's honest, true, a kind of love that pulls me through. And I'm thankful for the pain, 'cause it showed me your name. Maybe love was never perfect, maybe it had to break me first, so I could finally understand the difference between love and hurt. And I wouldn't change a single step, even all the tears I cried. They brought me here, they brought me you, they changed my life. I had to love the wrong one first to finally see what I'm worth. Every fall, every goodbye led me to something right. Now I know what love should be, not losing myself to feel complete. And I'm grateful for the pain, 'cause it taught me how to love again.
You wear your failures heavily, like scars you shouldn't show. Like falling down once means you never deserve the road. So you hide your broken moments behind a careful smile, pretending you were never hurt, pretending you never tried. But every dream worth chasing comes with bruises on the soul, and nobody climbs mountains without losing some control. Failure is not disgrace, not when your heart was real, not when you gave everything to something you could feel. The shame is not in falling, the shame is living scared, too afraid to risk your spirit, too afraid to even dare. I used to fear mistakes so much I froze before the start, thinking one wrong outcome could destroy my worth apart. I watched opportunities leave me because fear chained my feet, and slowly I realized avoiding failure is another defeat, because life rewards the people who learn and rise again, not the ones who stay untouched inside imaginary safety nets. Every honest failure leaves wisdom in your hands, a deeper understanding no textbook could command. You learn what strength means, you learn where pride breaks, you learn how to keep breathing after disappointment shakes. And somehow through the wreckage you become wiser than before, because pain refines the spirit when you still return once more. The strongest people walking are not the ones untouched by loss, they're the ones who failed repeatedly and still accepted the cost. Still chose another sunrise, still chose another climb, still chose to trust the future one more time. That's courage, that's glory, that's where greatness starts, not in flawless victories, but in resilient hearts. The world may laugh at failure, but the world forgets its truth. Every masterpiece carries the fingerprints of struggle too. Every inventor was rejected, every artist doubted themselves, every dreamer met darkness before becoming something else. So why should you feel ashamed for being human enough to try? The people who never fail are usually the ones who never fight for their lives. And honestly, fear is heavier than any mistake can be, because fear keeps souls imprisoned from who they're meant to become. And see, a failed attempt can teach you, can sharpen your next move, but a life ruled by fear leaves nothing to improve. So fail, honestly fail, bravely fail, while reaching high, then stand back up wiser and challenge the sky, because every new attempt carries lessons from the last, and broken roads often lead to stronger futures built to last. Shame is not in failure, never believe that lie. The shame is abandoning your spirit before it even gets to try. So wear your scars with honor, they prove you chose to live, and every setback carries seeds for something greater. Still to give, fail better, rise stronger, return with wiser eyes, because the people who change the world are the ones who keep trying after they fall and rise. Some people spend forever waiting for the perfect sign to come, staring at unopened doors while the years keep moving on. They blame the stars above them, blame fate, blame circumstance, but destiny rarely visits the hearts too afraid to dance. Because life doesn't reward hesitation or dreams locked safely away. The world begins to move for you the moment you move your way. Fortune favors the fearless, the ones who dare to leap, the ones who run toward the storm while others stay asleep. Luck follows motion, not fear disguised as caution, and destiny wakes up for hearts that spoke the truth, walked through the rain, applied before they felt ready, tried before certainty arrived. And somehow fate kept meeting them on the road where courage thrives. Because opportunities appear to people already moving, not to souls standing frozen, waiting for proof before choosing. The universe seems to whisper to those willing to dare, since you trusted the unknown, I'll meet you halfway there. And honestly, maybe luck isn't magic from above. Maybe luck is simply courage. Repeat it long enough. Repeat it through rejection. Repeat it through fear. Repeat it until the impossible finally starts drawing near. I remember moments clearly when terror filled my chest, standing at the edge of change, unsure if I'd survive the test. But every time I stepped anyway, even while shaking inside, something unexpected happened. Life opened a little wider each time. New people appeared suddenly, new roads I couldn't see before. Because movement creates encounters that waiting never does. That's why brave hearts grow faster. That's why dreamers eventually rise. Not because they never fail, but because they keep throwing themselves toward life. Fortune doesn't belong to people hiding from risk. It belongs to those willing to gamble comfort for possibility's kiss. So if your heart feels called towards something wild and true, don't wait for permission. The next chapter waits for you. Jump before you know everything. Move before fear disappears. Because destiny is always love. The soul that volunteers. The soul that says I may fall, but I refuse not to try it all. And maybe that's the secret, hidden inside the climb. The universe starts responding the moment courage decides to stop watching life from a distance and finally enter the flame. Because fate begins shifting for the person bold enough to change. Fortune favors the fearless, the ones alive enough to move. And the future belongs forever to hearts brave enough to choose.
Spent too long following lines, living someone else's life, trying hard to fit the mold, doing what I was told. Every choice already made, every dream neatly arranged, but deep inside a quiet voice kept asking me if this was really my choice. If you don't steer your own way, someone else will lead your days. Control your own destiny, or someone else will shape your story. Every step you leave undone becomes another person's road. You only get one life to claim, so write it in your own name. It's easier to let things slide, to let the current choose the tide. No risk, no blame, no chance to fall, but no real living there at all. Freedom isn't standing still, it's choosing even through the fear. to lead? What if your dream is what you need? Not someone else's borrowed plan, but the life built by your own hands. Because one day you'll look behind and ask yourself, whose life was mine? So I'll control my destiny, even through uncertainty. I'd rather break while being true than disappear doing what I should do. Because the only life worth the pain is the one I chose to make. So I'll take the wheel tonight, even if I miss the lights. Because I'd rather lose my way than never choose my way at all.
There were days I felt too long, like I didn't quite belong. Every step was heavy ground, no way up, no way around. I could have broken, I could have stayed lost inside the weight I carried. But somehow through the darkest nights I found a way to breathe. A quiet smile in the pain, a little joke in the rain. It didn't fix it all, but it kept me sane. If I didn't learn to laugh, I wouldn't make it through all the fights I've had to face, all the things I've been through. It's not that life was easy, it's not that I was strong, but a little bit of humor kept me holding on. You can carry all the weight or let it bend just a little. Sometimes a lighter heart can survive what's heavy. It's not about denying pain or pretending it's okay. It's finding just enough light to get you through the day. Even in the hardest times when everything feels wrong, a simple laugh can give you strength to keep going on. If I didn't learn to laugh, I would have lost my way through the endless nights I watched, through the darkest days. It's not that I was fearless or I didn't feel the fall, but a little bit of humor helped me through it all. You don't need to win the fight to keep your spirit alive. Sometimes all it takes is a reason to smile. If I didn't learn to laugh, I wouldn't be here now. Through every tear I ever had, I found a way somehow. It's not the end of pain, it's not the end of scars, but a little bit of humor can carry you so far. Laugh and keep going.
I thought love would feel like clarity, like a straight and simple line. Something steady, something certain, something easy to define. But every time I'm close to you, everything begins to blur. Like I'm losing all my balance in a world I can't be sure. I keep trying to understand it, but it slips right through my hands. And the more I'm lost, the more I know this feeling's deeper than I can control. Every doubt, every twist inside is something I can't deny. If love was easy, I'd walk away, but it pulls me closer anyway. Maybe all this confusion is proof that I'm falling into you. to you. To be something we can see. Maybe it's the way we tremble at the thought of what could be. And maybe every question mark is just another way to say there's something deeper is pulling us. We're too scared to name. So I'll let myself be lost in you, in every doubt and every truth. Every moment I can't explain is something I won't escape. If love is found in what I fear, then I know it's standing here. 'Cause the more I lose my way, the more I know I wanna stay.
I fell again, I missed the mark. Watched it fade into the dark. Thought I'd feel the weight of it, but something shifted in my head. It didn't feel like losing now. It felt like learning something out loud. Every mistake I've ever made brought me closer than I say. What if falling isn't wrong? What if it's the way you grow? Every time you miss the shot, you're closer than you know. I'm one step closer every time I fall. Every little failure isn't failure at all. I won't be afraid of the road I take, because every mistake I make is a step I'll celebrate. You can run from every loss, try to hide the cost, but the only way to win is to begin again. Every time you choose to try, even when you don't know why, you're building something deep inside that won't be denied. It's not about the perfect run, it's about the way you stand. Every time you fall and rise, you become who you can. I'm one step closer every time I break. Every doubt I face is a move I make. I won't turn away, I won't hesitate, because every fall I take is a step I'll celebrate. What if success is built from everything you failed? What if every broken step is where you prevailed? I'm one step closer with every fall I face. Every single failure is taking me to that place. I won't be afraid, I won't run away, because every step I take is a step toward my day. One step closer. That's enough. I said words I didn't mean, like sparks thrown into gasoline. In the moment it felt right to let the darkness speak. That night, pride was louder than my heart, and anger tore the room apart. I watched love turn into smoke over sentences I never should have spoke. Fire feels powerful at first, until you see what it burns. Whatever starts in anger leaves ashes in the end. A wound that keeps on echoing long after voices end. but it fades into regret. I've broken things with reckless hands, things I didn't understand. Not because I meant them harm, but because pain can sound like war and silence. After all the noise feels heavier than the choice to stop, to breathe, to let things rest before turning hurt into a mess. Not every feeling needs a fight. Some storms pass if we don't ignite. Whatever grows from bitterness will eventually collapse. You can't build peace from sharpened words or love from constant attacks. Because anger burns fast and bright, but leaves you cold at night. But leaves you cold at night. What if strength is not the flame, but the patience to walk away? Not winning every war you start, but protecting your own heart. Because some battles cost too much, even if you win them. So I'll try to hold my tongue before the damage has been done. I don't want another scar made from moments gone too far. Because the hardest thing to learn is some fires aren't worth the burn. The room grew quiet after the storm, and I saw what anger had done. So now before I strike the match, I'll remember the ashes.
The fight was out there, against the world, against unfair, trying to outrun every name, trying hard to win the game. But every night when silence came, I met the part I couldn't tame. The doubt, the fear, the easy road, the voice that said just let it go. No enemy cuts quite as deep as the one you carry underneath. The first and greatest victory is the war inside of me. Not the trophies, not the crowd, but standing tall when no one's around. Because the strongest chains I've known were forged inside my bones. It's easy blaming fate or time, harder looking in your eyes and facing every hidden flaw without pretending anymore. Every dream demands a cost, 1,000 battles never showed. The hardest road I've ever walked was learning how to lead my soul. Real strength isn't proving power, it's choosing discipline in darker hours. The first and truest victory is becoming who I need to be. Not ruled by fear, not ruled by pride, but by no victory parade, just the choices that I made. And every day I rise again. I win within. I always thought I was the one who never got the love I dreamed. Like something in me wasn't worthy, like I was less than I could be. I watched it happen all around me, hearts connecting, hands held tight, while I stood just on the outside, blaming fate for every night. I built a story I believed in, one that kept me safe somehow. I said I'm not the one they choose, I'm just the one they pass right through. But maybe that was just a shield to hide the truth I couldn't feel. I thought love never came my way, but maybe I pushed it away. I kept my distance like protection, never letting walls come down. Every time someone got closer, I would turn myself around. I called it strength, I called it freedom, said I didn't need it anyway. But now I see the truth inside it, I was the one who walked away. I was so afraid of breaking that I never let it start. I said I'm not the one they choose, I'm just the one they never use. But maybe I was closing doors before they ever reached my core. I thought love never stayed for me, but I never let it be. What if the worst thing wasn't losing love or never being seen? What if it's living all this time without knowing what it means to open up, to risk the fall, to give your heart without control, now waiting just to be loved, but choosing to love at all. I'm done saying I'm not enough, done hiding from what could be love. If I want something real and true, it starts with what I choose to do. I don't need to be perfect now, I just need to learn how to let my heart finally begin and let love in.
Some people say life never changes, like fate is already fixed, like dreams belong to other people and hope is dangerous to risk. They speak defeat so casually before they even begin, building invisible prisons deep within their skin. It won't work out, that's impossible, people like me don't win. And slowly those words become the world they're living in, because the light follows direction even when we don't realize, and the future often bends itself toward what lives inside. If you believe nothing will change, you stop reaching for the light, you stop opening doors, you stop learning how to fight. And maybe without knowing it, you begin choosing defeat by expecting disappointment before your feet even move the street. I used to tell myself quietly life just isn't fair for me, as if surrender sounded wiser than risking possibility. And honestly, that belief felt strangely safe at first. 'Cause if I expected nothing, failure couldn't hurt. But safety built from hopelessness comes with a hidden price. You slowly lose the fire that once made your spirit alive. Because people who stop believing stop acting with full heart, and dreams abandoned halfway never get the chance to start. The world is shaped partly by the thoughts we feed each day, not through magic or fantasy, but through the choices those beliefs create. Searching for a way, keeps learning, keeps climbing, keeps moving through the pain. But someone convinced they're powerless stops before the test, and then calls the life they created proof that nothing works out best. That's the tragedy of hopelessness that disguises itself as truth while quietly stealing courage from the future inside you. Because the moment you decide nothing can change at all, you stop seeing possibilities standing beyond the wall. And honestly, maybe life doesn't always go perfectly, but human beings become stronger through belief and responsibility. Not every dream comes easy, not every road is fair, but hearts that expect nothing rarely discover what's there. So be careful what you repeat inside your lonely mind, because beliefs become directions over years and time. If you keep saying I can't, your hands stop reaching out. But if you whisper maybe I can, something begins changing through the doubt. The future listens closely to the energy you bring, and people who expect defeat often create the very thing. So don't surrender your power before the battle starts. Life changes for the people who move with believing hearts. Because maybe the greatest prison is not the world outside, but the silent, hopeless story a person keeps alive inside. And maybe freedom begins the moment you decide to stop expecting darkness and finally step toward the light. I tried to add a little more layers on what I had before, chasing lines that felt complete until I couldn't feel the beat. Every color, every sound started blurring all around, and what I thought would make me shine just hid the truth I couldn't find. You don't see it in the noise, you hear it when it's stripped to voice. Less is everything you need when you let the excess leave. True beauty doesn't try too hard, it's quiet, clear and sharp. You don't need to complicate to show the depth you create. Sometimes the highest form you'll find is what you chose to leave behind. I watched the ones who didn't try to fill the room, to steal the light. They stood in calm, they didn't prove, and still the world began to move. No wasted words, no borrowed face, just something real you couldn't replace. A kind of strength that doesn't shout but never fades or burns out. Elegance is not in show, it's in what you choose to let go. Less is everything that stays when you clear the crowded space. It's not the loud, it's not the grand, it's the steady, simple hand. You them on. The world will tell you add some more to be, more to show. But the finest things endure because they stay simple and pure. Not what you pile on the frame, but what remains when you erase. Less is everything that lasts, beyond the noise, beyond the past. No decoration, no disguise, just truth seen through your eyes. Because the clearest things we find are the ones we simplified. So take it back, strip it away, let the real be what remains. Because in the end you'll always see the simplest form is mastery. I used to think the stars were born, different hearts, different forms, like greatness fell from somewhere high, only meant for certain lives. But every story that I read had sleepless nights beneath success. Every hero, every name, walk through fire, walk through pain. Nothing rises from the air, there are footprints leading there. Success leaves clues behind, in the habits, in the sacrifice, in the people who kept going on long after the light was gone. If you look close enough, you'll find the path was never blind. The early mornings, lonely roads, the doubts nobody else was told, the failures hidden under fame, the 1,000 times they stayed the same. Not magic, not destiny, just ordinary consistency, and hearts refusing to let go, and nobody believed at all. The answers aren't impossible to see, they're hidden in discipline quietly. Success leaves traces in the dark, tiny sparks inside the heart. The way they fall and rise again, the way they build through broken ends. Nothing great appears by chance, it grows through repeated hands. What if success is less about talent and more about what you repeat? The little choices every day nobody applauds or sees, because greatness whispers first before the world calls it success. So I'll study every scar, every dream that traveled far, not to copy someone else, but to understand myself. Because every life that truly shines leaves a map behind. The clues are written everywhere, in patience, pain, and stubborn care. And maybe success has always been a trail for us to follow in. I used to know the answers before I took a step, needed every road illuminated before I placed my bets. I wanted life to make sense before the pain arrived, wanted every broken moment to already have a reason why. But the future stays silent, it never explains ahead why certain doors keep closing, why certain dreams feel dead. You cannot connect the dots looking forward through the night, you only see the meaning later looking back through time. So sometimes all you have is faith inside didn't understand the dream that fell apart. A lonely season nobody saw, breaking pieces of my heart. At the time I felt pointless, like life was pulling me away from everything I thought I needed, every carefully planned day. But years later, looking backwards, something shocked me deeply then. Those painful disconnected moments had slowly shaped who I became. The heartbreak taught compassion, the failure taught me grit. The lonely nights built strength inside I didn't know existed. And suddenly the dots connected in ways I couldn't see before. Like every detour quietly had opened another door. That's the strange beauty of living, you rarely understand the whole, while standing in the middle of the unfinished road. The meaning comes later, the answers arrive with time, and faith is what carries us before the reasons fully align. Because if you only trust what you can already explain, you'll quit the moment darkness comes, or suffering brings pain. But life asks for something deeper, a trust beyond your sight, a belief that even broken chapters still belong inside your life. Maybe nothing is wasted, maybe every scar remains as part of some future version, still learning from the pain. Maybe every person leaving, every unexpected turn carries hidden lessons you'll someday understand and learn. The future never shows itself fully, that's not how journeys work. We walk through uncertainty first, before clarity returns. And honestly, that terrified me for so many years inside, not knowing if the road I follow would lead somewhere alive. But now I see more clearly, some things only make sense late, and faith becomes a bridge we walk between confusion and faith. So if your life feels scattered, if the story feels unclear, don't assume the ending's broken just because you can't connect it here. One day you may look backward at everything you feared and realize every shattered moment quietly brought you here. The dots will connect someday, even if tonight they don't. So keep moving through the mystery, even when you feel alone. Because meaning is often hidden inside the roads we never planned. And faith is trusting life is building something bigger than we understand. I spent years behind locked doors, afraid of what the world held more. Every dream I tried to hold felt dangerous outside my soul. So I stayed where it felt safe, built my life inside a cage, and little by little I became a shadow wearing my own name. Fear promises it keeps you whole, but slowly it empties out your soul. How little light can truly grow inside a heart afraid to go. Fear may keep you from the pain, but it keeps you small the same. 'Cause nothing great was ever born from hiding safely from the storm. I've seen people lose their fire, not from failure but from fear. Too afraid to speak their truth, too afraid to become new. And every chance we leave behind still echoes softly through the mind. Not because we know we'd win, but because we never entered in. The safest road may look still comes. What if fear never disappears? What if bravery simply appears the moment you decide to move, despite the shaking inside you? Because freedom doesn't wait for fear to fade away. So I won't let fear decide how much of life I leave behind. I'd rather fall while reaching high than live untouched and wonder why. Because one day we all will see fear took more than failure ever could from me. The night still whispers in my ear, but I won't live beneath my fear. Because somewhere beyond the doubt, my real life waits.
Thought I was the one who never got the love I dreamed. Like something in me wasn't worthy, like I was less than I could be. I watched it happen all around me, hearts connecting, hands held tight, while I stood just on the outside, blaming fate for every night. I built a story I believed in, one that kept me safe somehow. I said I'm not the one they choose, I'm just the one they pass right through. But maybe that was just a shield to hide the truth I couldn't feel. I thought love never came my way, but maybe I pushed it away. I kept my distance like protection, never letting walls come down. Every time someone got closer, I would turn myself around. I called it strength, I called it freedom, said I didn't need it anyway. But now I see the truth inside it, I was the one who walked away. I was so afraid of breaking that I never let it start. I said I'm not the one they choose, I'm just the one they never use. But maybe I was closing doors before they ever reached my core. I thought love never stayed for me, but I never let it be. What if the worst thing wasn't losing love or never being seen? What if it's living all this time without knowing what it means to open up, to risk the fall, to give your heart without control, not waiting just to be loved, but choosing to love at all. I'm done saying I'm not enough, done hiding from what could be
knows the ending when they first begin the climb. No map appears before them, no perfect warning signs. Every dream starts uncertain, standing somewhere in the dark with only a fragile feeling burning inside the heart. And fear will always whisper, you're not enough for this. Turn around before you fail, don't risk what you can miss, because impossible things always look impossible first. That's why most people never touch them, they surrender before their search. But every great beginning starts with something unseen, a person choosing to believe before there's proof to believe. If you wanna reach what nobody can guarantee, you must first trust the possibility before reality agrees. Because belief is the first bridge across the unknown line. Hearts that never trust themselves never learn how to fight. I remember staring upward at dreams too high to hold, certain I would break apart before the story even told. I had no clear answers, no certainty ahead, only a restless voice inside refusing to stay dead. And honestly, that belief felt foolish at the start, like trying to light a fire inside a storming heart. But slowly I discovered belief changes the soul. It gives exhausted hands the strength to continue toward the goal. Not because belief is magic, not because wishing wins, but because belief creates movement, and movement is where change begins. A person who believes keeps standing after pain, keeps learning after failure, keeps walking through the rain. While someone who decides too early, it can never happen for me, stops before the miracle has the chance to breathe. That's why belief matters before the world understands, before success appears, before the future lands. Every inventor believed first, every artist too, every dream that changed the world started in someone nobody knew. Started in uncertainty, started in doubt and fear, but somebody chose faith anyway and slowly brought the vision near. The world often waits for evidence before it gives respect, but dreams are born in private places long before results connect. So if your path feels unclear tonight, if the mountain seems too high, remember every impossible thing once lived only inside someone's mind. And the difference between a dream that fades away and a dream that becomes reality is who keeps believing through the delay. You don't need guarantees, you don't need the whole sky, you just need enough faith to take the next step and try. Because impossible roads open to hearts that still believe, even before the future has anything visible to see. Believe before you see it, that's how all journeys start. The future belongs forever to the faith inside the heart. I spent my days chasing more, counting what I could call my own. Every win, every gain still felt empty, just the same. I thought life was something I'd hold, a story written just for me alone. But something shifted deep inside when I looked beyond my side. It wasn't what I kept or claimed, it was the lives I ever chased. Maybe the meaning of this life is in the hands we hold at night, in every heart we choose to see, in every act of empathy. It's not about what we achieve, it's about the love we leave. A simple word, a quiet care can change a world without a glare. You don't need to rise above, just lift someone up with love. Because the moments that remain aren't the ones we chase for fame. They're the ones where someone knew they weren't alone because of you. You don't find purpose standing tall. You find it when you give your all. Maybe the meaning of our days is found in small and gentle ways. Not in power, not in pride, but in who we stand beside. The life that truly feels complete is one that learns to give, not keep. What if we're not meant to shine alone? What if we're here to help others grow? Not to take, not to prove, but to give in everything we do. Because a life that only lives for self leaves something missing on the shelf. Maybe the purpose we're chasing for is already at someone else's door. In every hand we choose to hold, in every story left untold. When all is said and all is done, it's who we serve that makes us one. So I'll give more than I receive. That's how I choose to live. Because in the end it's clear to me to serve is to be free. Is to be free. Before the world decides your future, before the road begins, there's a quieter battle waiting deep within. A voice that says keep going, a voice that says don't try. And whichever one you follow becomes the shape of your life. Because long before failure reaches you, long before victory appears, the mind already chooses whether to move through fear. If you believe you can rise your feet, begin to move. If you believe you are broken, you stop before the truth. What you believe becomes the limit or the wings beneath your soul. And that invisible decision changes everything you hold. I used to doubt myself constantly before I even began building walls from assumptions inside my own hands, saying I'm not ready, I could never be enough. And every dream I abandoned was buried by those thoughts. Not by reality, not by faith, but by believing too early that I was too late. And honestly, that realization shook me to the core. How many locked doors in life were never locked before? How many mountains looked impossible only because I refused to climb? How many futures disappeared inside the prison of my mind? Because the strongest chains are often never seen. They live inside the stories we repeat silently. I can't, I'm too weak, I'll never become more. And slowly those words become the ceiling we live under. But the moment belief changes, something shifts inside. The body follows vision, the soul begins to rise. Not because success gets easier, not because fear is gone, but because belief gives strength to continue moving on. Every inventor believed first, every dreamer too. Before the world ever agreed, they carried an inner truth. A stubborn kind of confidence, not loud but deeply real. The kind that keeps a person standing when everything else kneels. And yes, belief alone won't save you, you still must work and fight. But effort without belief burns out in the night. Because people become what they repeat long enough, and hearts grow stronger slowly when faith survives the rough. So be careful what you tell yourself in lonely moments here. Your words become direction, your thoughts become the years. If you say I can't forever, you'll never truly know. But if you whisper maybe I can, you give your spirit room to grow. That is the law of living simple, fierce and true. The world often reflects back what you first believe in you. So truth you never knew. If you think you cannot, the road will end before it starts for you. And maybe the greatest power a human soul can hold is believing in tomorrow before tomorrow unfolds.
I spent years trying to find some hidden version in my mind, like somewhere deep beneath the skin was someone I was meant to be within. I searched through places, searched through names, through other people's ways and frames, waiting for a sign to say, this is who you are today. But nothing answered from above, no perfect map, no sudden love. Life is not about finding yourself like you're lost in some forgotten shelf. It's about the things you choose, the roads you take, the pain you use. Every scar and every step becomes the shape you slowly get. You build yourself in quiet nights, in every wrong and every right, in every time you stood alone and still decided to move on. No one wakes up fully formed, no soul arrives already known. We carve our meaning as we go, piece by piece, slow by slow. You don't discover who you are, you become it through the dark. Life is not about finding truth, it's created something new. Every choice becomes a line, written into your design. You are not fixed, you are not done, you are becoming someone. Woo! What if freedom is this? Not searching for what already exists, but shaping something with your hands out of all the broken plans. Maybe who you are today is only clay still being shaped. Life is not about finding yourself, it's building someone through the hell, through the love, through the change, through the moments rearranged. And one day you'll finally see you became who you chose to be. So I won't wait for fate to tell me who I am. I'll make myself instead. One step at a time.
Fear will always find you before the moment you begin. It whispers from the shadows underneath your skin. What if you fail badly? What if you lose it all? What if the dream you're chasing was never yours to call? And honestly, those voices can sound painfully real, strong enough to make a heart forget what it used to feel. So people stay where it's familiar, where nothing breaks apart, trading possibility away for temporary comfort in the dark. But listen closely, the greatest danger isn't trying and losing, it's spending your whole life never moving. Don't fear the challenge, fear the life you never live, fear becoming someone who forgot how to risk, fear the empty feeling of wondering what could have been, because used to think courage meant never being scared, but courage is trembling deeply and still deciding to care. Still deciding to leap, still deciding to fight, still choosing the unknown over a safer, lonely night. Because every dream worth reaching lives outside familiar walls, and nobody discovers who they are by never answering the call. A bird fears leaving branches, but never learns the sky, and hearts that never challenge life slowly forget how to fly. I remember standing frozen at crossroads in my life, watching opportunities disappear while I stayed trapped inside, trying to protect myself from embarrassment and pain. But slowly I realized I was losing more by staying the same, because avoiding failure also avoids growth, avoids transformation, avoids becoming whole. The people I admire most weren't fearless from the start. They simply feared regret more than temporary scars. They feared unfinished dreams more than falling down, feared waking up years later still standing on the same ground. And that fear became fuel that pushed them through the night, because sometimes the fear of staying still must become stronger than the fear of trying life. You will fail sometimes, you will break and doubt, but every challenge faced pulls hidden strength out. Every risk teaches something, every battle leaves wisdom behind, and every brave decision reshapes the borders of your mind. So stop waiting for fear to vanish, it never fully will. The brave are simply people who refuse to let fear kill their purpose, their passion, their chance to become more than the version of themselves too afraid to open the door. Because life belongs to movement, to souls willing to rise, and the future opens only for hearts that choose despite uncertainty, despite the pain, despite the possibility of falling once again. So don't fear the challenge, fear the untouched dream inside, fear the silent ache of knowing you never truly tried. And when your heart trembles someday, standing at the edge of change, remember the real tragedy in life is not failing bravely, it's never stepping forward at all. I've missed the mark 1,000 times, watched my hopes fall out of line. Every step that didn't land felt like slipping through my hands. There were days I almost quit, tired of giving all of it, wondering if I should just leave it where it was. But something deep inside my soul wouldn't let me walk away. A quiet voice kept calling out, try again. One more time, that's all it takes. One more step, one more mistake. If you still have the will to try, you're still alive inside. It doesn't matter how you fall or how many times you break. If you can say just one more time, you'll find your way. Failure doesn't end the road, it's just a weight you learn to hold. Every loss, every delay builds the strength you'll need someday. The ones who reach the other side are not the ones who never cried. They're the ones who didn't lose the courage to continue. You don't need a perfect run, you don't need to get it right. You just need to stand again and face the fight. One more time, even in doubt, even when it all runs out. If there's a spark you still can feel, then this is still real. It doesn't
like it's just another ordinary kind of day. Tie my hair, put on a smile, try to brush the doubts away, but something whispers in the mirror, soft but louder than I knew. What if today's the day you meet the one who's meant for you? So I take a little extra time, not for them but for my shine, just in case it's you I meet on a random crowded street. I wanna feel like I'm enough, like I'm someone worth your love. Not pretending, not a show, just the best of me I know. 'Cause maybe fate is passing through, and I wanna be ready for you. It's not about perfection, not about a flawless face. It's the way I hold my laughter, the light I carry in my space. Every step a little stronger, every glance a little free, like I'm already someone I've been learning how to be. Not to chase a fantasy, but to love the girl I see. Just in case it's you I find in a moment I can't design. I wanna show up as I am, with a heart that understands. Not too perfect, not too planned, just a touch of who I am. 'Cause maybe fate is passing by, and I don't wanna miss that time. And if I never meet you today, that doesn't take this light away. I'm not shining just for you, I'm shining 'cause I want to. And maybe that's the secret truth, not waiting just to be chosen, but loving who I are right now with my heart wide open. So just in case it's you I meet, I'll be dancing through the streets, with every flaw and every glow, being more than I once was. And if our worlds don't cross today, I'll still walk my own way. 'Cause maybe fate will come in view, and I'll already be ready to. You hold the moment like it's all, afraid that it might slip and fall, gripping tight with restless hands, trying hard to understand. Every second feels so loud, like it's now or not at all, like if you don't make it now, you might lose it all. But what if life is wider than this single breath? What if there's a rhythm beyond what you can life was never meant to be something you acquire. If you trust the flow of life, you can finally breathe again. You don't have to win each moment to feel like you can stand. Every step, every fall is part of something true. When you trust the way of life, it will carry you. Let it flow. You'll be
You say life never changes, like the ending's already known, like dreams are just illusions for people stronger than your own. You speak like hope is foolish, like trying only breaks the heart. So before the race even begins, you decide not to start. And maybe you call it realism, maybe you call it truth, but sometimes hopeless thinking is just fear disguising you. Because people who believe nothing good will ever come stop reaching for tomorrow before the battle's even won. If you expect your life won't change, you slowly shape it that way by turning from the open doors you could walk through someday. The mind becomes a compass pointing where the soul will go, and hearts convinced of darkness rarely search for light to grow. I used to tell myself quietly, this is just who I am, as if my future had been written before I even made a stand. I blamed the world around me, blamed timing, luck and fate, while secretly protecting myself from the pain of trying too late. Because failure looked terrifying, but hope looked dangerous too. If you believe in something deeply, you might lose it before it's true. So I built walls from cynicism and called them wisdom instead. But inside, no safe excuses, something in me slowly bled. 'Cause human beings weren't created to live without desire, and souls that stop believing forget how to build fire. The saddest prison isn't visible, it lives inside the mind, and all the silent sentences that keep a dream confined. I'll never make it, it's too late now. Nothing ever works for me, those thoughts become the chain somehow. Not because life is magical, not because belief alone wins, but because belief changes action, and action changes everything. People who expect possibility keep moving through the pain. They keep searching, keep learning, keep beginning again. While people expecting failure stop before they're tested, then call their untouched potential proof they were never destined. And honestly, maybe life will never fully obey, but human beings create more freedom than fear wants us to say. Every choice matters, every risk leaves marks, every brave thought opens another door inside the dark. So be careful what you repeat inside your tired